The platform that allows traumatic brain injury survivors, those with brain injuries, brain conditions, stroke survivors, gunshot survivors, those, where are my guests? Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I need to, sorry guys. I can't come up. Hold on 1 second. I do that again. Let's see. No, thank you all for joining me today, and sorry about that. So, the company now allows both traumatic brain injury survivors and brain injury survivors, gunshot survivors, avian survivors, survivors of various brain conditions, survivors alike, the disability community, caregivers, medical professionals, organizations, and anyone associated with brain injuries to share their stories and provide tips plus bring awareness and share resources to those impacted. And if you all know me, you know I had a brain injury as well, so you have to bear with me sometimes. I sometimes tend to forget stuff, and today's been a busy day already. So, but my guest today is an amazing young lady, and she is a traveling outpatient physical therapist, and she just is such a nice young lady, and she's also venturing out to do some new things. But I'll let her share that with you, and I won't tell her won't tell the good stuff. I'll let her share the information with you when she gets on the live, and I'm gonna bring her in shortly. Hold on 1 second. Bring her in. Hi, Ariel. How are you doing? Uh oh. Uh oh. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
I
I
was,
didn't realize I had myself
like,
muted.
okay. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. Thank you for joining me and taking time out your day. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna I gotta put the questions and then we're gonna get started. Let's see. So can you start with telling us a little bit what you do and how you began your physical therapy journey?
So I am an outpatient physical company called Upstream Rehabilitation. It has different names with smaller companies. And I work as a traveler, as you mentioned already. So therapist, I go from different clinics. Me specifically, I only stick to in my particular company, and that is consists of only outpatient therapy. Is when our patients come to us, they can be seeing us because they hurt their shoulder, anything like that, and even patients that have had a stroke, things like that. And I haven't myself seen anybody that's had a injury, particularly. I think that was their immediate referral types of cases, as far as like neurological deficits that might type of onset. With my background in physical therapy, I grew up doing sports, so I always had a little bit of exposure and just like rehab, athletic trainers, and everything in general. And the favorite story is I feel like they tell you choose what you want to do for the rest of your life. And you're sick. Okay, I want to be a physical therapist. It was something that had good outlook and it'll go wrong, right? And I really realized that I fell in love with doing physical, and I actually had exposure doing inpatient rehab where you're in the hospital and they're in the bed all day, things like that.
Okay.
Those patients are usually a lot more affected by whatever disability or ailment or condition that they have. People with traumatic brain injuries in that region, and heart attacks and maybe knee replacements, hip. That's where I really fell in love with it, especially seeing those neurological cases that people that have had by having a brain injury or having a stroke where their life 1 minute, and then they had a slip and fall, they bumped their head, a helmet, because their brain is exposed from this traumatic brain injury. Up from they can't even get up and wash themselves or clothe themselves, and then a year later, and they're able to come up and hug me and dance with me, things like that. That's what really resonates. I love seeing people like you and your stories, and being able to be a part of that and transition into the next chapter of your life.
Yeah, I love that, and I've had so many therapists. I can't even tell you how many I've had. I've been in and out of therapy for the past 14 years. I don't know if you know much about me, but I was considered a gunshot survivor, which led to my traumatic brain injury, and so I lost my ability to walk, and I had a stroke on my right side, and so but I'm getting in therapy rehabbing for that, and also I just got to the point where I'm taking steps now. And so it's been a long journey from learning to step by yourself, things like that. So it's been a long journey. Long story short, and so I love it. I thank you for what you do. I love that you are a person of color. Because when I was in therapy, I didn't see many people of my ethnicity there. I saw was Caucasian people, and so that's what I was used to. So when I see a black, when I see African American, so I'm like, oh my goodness, it's one of me. Like I have my first occupational therapist who was African American this year, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm so used to seeing Caucasian people. So it was refreshing to see someone that looked like me. So it's very important that we see ourselves in all fields. So I think it's very important. And so I don't know if you said your passion, where your passion came from for physical therapy. I'm not sure if you said that already.
Yeah, so that's a passion for me. That's where I started, and that's how I kind of realized my passion is just kind of I don't know how many people can kind of relate to the same feeling in the work that they do, just because I'm a super emotional person, because I know that I am, but I was like overwhelmed in those times where I'm helping those people, where it's just like, I know for a fact that I made a difference to get up and make these steps. Without me, they wouldn't have been able to see the situation without the help that I'm doing, and like working with them. So that's where and then I guess kind of working just as a caregiver is where it kind of ignited some of that, because I'm the youngest grandparents, my late grandparents, and
No.
so I had to help with changing their diabetic shots, and watching them just like age and all, and helping these people. They're older, my patients, and so I'm looking at them, and this is my grandmother, my grandfather, and doing some of the same stuff, and then just enjoying the fact that now I know even more to be able to help them in ways that I couldn't at the time when I was still younger, still kind of just learning the world.
Yeah, so you had experience. I heard you saying you had experience basically in it. So that's where your art for people came from, because you had your grandparents. So that makes perfect sense. When you were in school, did you see other physical therapists that were of color that were in class with you?
Yeah, so what you mentioned about like just seeing someone else that looks like you, that's really the platform I reach out to people, because when I was in school, I went to a HB Black College University. I went to Alabama State University. And like anything like the campus, there were other Black physical therapists in the program with me, prior to a prominently white institution. But I was told that 24 people in my class, and there were, I think, 8 of us, men and women. So that kind of fluctuates here and there with that class. People getting waitlisted, going to other places, so that my school really strives for it. At the same token, you have to have enough interest in people trying to go into in the field of physical therapy. I believe people of color make up about 3%. Resonated with me, I realized, was when I went to a national conference for physical therapy, looking around in the rooms and at the gatherings, and I was just like, there are like between people that look like me. So I definitely resonate with the whole reason why ability. So there are more people of color that think they can actually and be in healthcare like this, so we can have more healthcare facility for you.
I'm glad you had a perspective of, think about the people that are coming either more you are now or coming after you, because it's important that there's visibility in all areas in all fields. I've had some great therapists. I gotta say, I have had some great therapists. They've helped me improve so much. I would be nearly where I was as far as I without their assistance and their, the exercise they give me to do and things like that. And it's extra work too. It takes a person be willing to do the work to actually make a difference as well. Because you need the participation, don't you? Right? It'll be a part of your own recovery as well. So it's very essential that it's like a partnership almost, it's teamwork. You got to be a team.
Yeah.
You got to have a participant. So I love that you said that, and it's very important. So I don't. So do you have certain people like I think you said you don't, but I know you have a range of people who are TBI survivors, stroke survivors, you said other conditions. So there's no certain group of people that you help. Is that correct? Like you don't have a certain dynamic you help?
Yes, to an extent. My clinic is a bit of everybody, and we're so backed up just with the that we're in right now in Atlanta and the southwest area. There's a lot of people of color in this community and a lot of people that need help. So it's not really geared towards this thing. There are some clinicians that only treat pelvic floor or conditions. But for us, like have people up and down from different working on an orthopedic specialist certification. So that gears me a little bit. I just had like rotator cuff surgery or ACL surgery and things that are more orthopedic. But I still treat everything, and neuro has a special place in my heart as folks and
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I think it's very important to be well rounded. So I'm glad you had experience of people with brain injuries, even if you're not even if you don't get a lot of people who have injuries like myself. It's very important that you are well rounded so you can have a understanding of how people work. I remember when I was in physical therapy, over 10 years ago, I was the therapist would ask me could they use me as a case study for student therapists, because I was considered I guess a good candidate, I guess, for someone who needs to learn. So I was always the person they would ask to do that, and I was always happy because I am big. I'm an advocate for. Now I love helping people learn. If I can help you learn something, then I'm all for it. So I don't mind being used in that way. So it's very important that you, like I said, everything, every facet of your field. So I love that you are willing to learn. All the aspects of it. And for those who don't know what physical therapists do, could you explain what a physical therapist specializes in, as far as like the parts of the body, like how different from occupational therapists? Occupational therapists just deal with upper body, but physical therapists deal with what you say.
Glad you asked me that. So with physical therapy, I worked with occupation and inpatient too, and so I had to fine tune my definition and how to explain that. It's a common misconception that physical therapists are only like lower body occupation. And the best way I got from one of my occupational therapist friends that way to define the differences, think of occupational therapists as physical therapists as the movers. So what that means is, it's going to get you up. They're going to get you moving. After surgery, they're going to get you out of bed. They're going to get body part that you just had a joint replacement on, and they're going to make sure you're stretching, all the strengthening type things, all of it. They might do some of those things too, but they're going to be the doers. So they're going to work on the functional aspect, fine-tuning even more. Occupational therapists are going to be like your fine motor skills, different things that an occupational therapist clinic is. They might do things related to memory deficit type things, memory games, doing coloring books for like fine, and everything that might apply to like the work that you want to get back to. I love patient rehabilitation center that I was at. The occupational therapists, we cooked meals with their in the rehab hospital. That kind of creates that intangible of their the doer. So in physical to be able to stand and walk, to be able to cook, and actually helping you to cut the knife and peel the onion and to be able to cook.
Yeah, I agree, but I remember when I was in previously in therapy, like I let you said they are both they're helping you move basically, but I love how you broke it down to saying like the I was like OTs are doers, and then the PTs are ones to get you up and moving. But I do remember that OT does work a balance too, sit balance as well. Physical therapist work a sit balance as well. So they do a lot of the same things because at the end of the day, it's still moving. You're moving your body, you're moving, and you have to move to do something. Was it active daily activity or something like that? You're still moving. So both equally important. One is not more significant than the other. It's just physical therapists are how do I want to say it? They are more I keep feeling the lower body. Like I see a lot of the lower extremities and so things like that. But I like how you put it as well too. So I think about that different ways. So thank you for that. What made you decide to become a traveling therapist instead of working in an actual facility, just a stationary facility?
So mainly because I used to experience new people and just learning new things. So I knew patient rehab place for a while, and then I knew I didn't want to stay where I lived because I'm from grad school is where Alabama State is. I'm from Montgomery. I worked in Montgomery. I lived in Montgomery from there, but I didn't particularly have like, oh, I want to go to this place because I have or this go. Like I had in my head, like maybe I want to go to Texas, Atlanta to experience different things. And then there's also the aspect. A lot of people gravitate to travel nursing, travel physical therapy with more money because they're giving you stipend, things like that. I can get into that, talk a ton if you want to know the logistics of it. But mainly because just meeting new people, diversity, in, as far as my interactions and my education. And I accelerated a lot of that for me. By the time for 4 years, I'd already started working alone. I already had like a career path kind of set out. And that I get put in at this point, I can be adaptable in a pinch. I can be creative. And I feel like that also helps me connect with people more based on my experience that I have, where lived in Texas for most of their life before they come back and be like, oh yeah, I lived in Texas for a month while I was doing school, a little bit of Spanish in the appointment, and they're forgetting, making them hurt, moving their arm or something. Just the diversity of it and just meeting new people and new interactions.
Makes you very relatable. Very like I said, it's well-rounded. It's again well-rounded and relatable, and being so adapting to different people who've been in different places and lived in different places and really different things. So I like that you're so adaptable and so flexible, and it does make you flexible when you have to travel to different places and see different people, and so definitely a good experience for you. Being a young person, well, we're both young, but I believe you're younger than me. But I'm glad you're getting this experience because it's very essential. So I'm glad you're getting experience. What's it like being a minority in the physical therapy field as a woman? Because I don't think there's very many male therapists are there, physical therapists who are African American. I haven't seen any. I don't think at all that are males.
Say the demographics or the statistic of the male female breakdown is female people of color in physical therapy. Just from to conferences and where I work and being in school, I definitely it's women's side. I have ran like one of my closer friends. He also travels too. He's a traveling therapist. One of my mentors is as well, and they're just from as far as the whole being a woman of color and healthcare therapy specifically, notice it most when it is most noticeable. For me, I'm in South Atlanta and I'm around a community. I'm serving a community that has that, and that means like my coworkers as well as my patients. And I don't really know places that might be more accessible as far as healthcare, more affluent populations where I might be not only the only therapist, but the only person of color in the room. And that just depends on like where I go, from where I'm acting as a physical therapist. So that's paid depending on where I am demographically for if I notice it or not. But even more than that, it's I'm around because I'm a very expressive person. I just like to have fun, and it's very easy to stand out at times too. So I've been in clinics. It might be, in the same demographic. I might be in a clinic where depressed, where I just have to like hold back my personality to make me stereotypes and making sure I'm in a certain representation. And then maybe I might the same kind of clinic demographic, maybe a few miles down the road, and I just feel accepted and supported, and I can still just completely be myself and don't really notice it as much. The other thing that's really helped for me in that aspect is really good mentorship and support around me. So even outside of I'm at a place, no matter where I am, if I'm by myself, if I'm with all people of color, I'm always supporting myself with people like me, and they're all trying to achieve great things. So I'm not really thinking this moment. I'm just trying to do the best I can. That's right. I have just make sure they show representation in whatever I do, even outside of the clinics.
I'm glad you had that mindset, because some people could freeze up and be like, oh, I'm not comfortable, so I'm not gonna be myself and be more closed off and not be open to the new experience that I'm experiencing, because obviously you've been put in a situation for a reason. And like I said, we have to be well rounded, because you're not going to always have people of your color to work with you. So you're going to have all kind of patients, whether they're Asian or any other ethnicity. So it's important to be in different spaces where you are forced to be around people who don't look like you. So I think it's a great thing, and I've always been an open person like that. I've never been like a closed-minded person to, oh, I just want to be around my people. No, I do like being around people, but not. I want to be well rounded. I want to be like, I want to have a whole a great experience to where I experience all people. So I'm glad you got the experience as well. What's a typical day like for you? Being a traveling physical therapist, what's your typical day like?
Physical therapist, I change clinics every 3 months or so. So I keep the same schedule and kind of 3 months at a time. And my might change a little bit depending on the clinic I do. But in my company, we typically try and serve the people in school by having late days and early days of 7 days. I might go in earlier where I start at 7 a.m. and I work until 4. Like 6 days, I might start at 10 and work till 7. And we do that so we can staff a working mom that's only able to come at like 5 evening. We're able to be so on a regular day, I wake up for a 7 a.m. day and get my breakfast and make my bed, get to the clinic and open it up and just start with treating. I'll document as I'm working. We as therapists, as healthcare workers, we know everything's driven by, and I have to make sure I'm documenting what I'm doing with the patient as I'm going through the session, during the session, throughout the session, so I kind of keep up with it and not fall behind. Colleagues and coworkers of mine that they might end of the day to do all their documenting, but I try multi works. Over lunch, I might catch up with a little bit of documentation if I have. I try and get out of the office and get some sunshine and just get my steps in and just mentally reconnect with my patients. So I go for a walk. I might listen to a podcast and, as well as eat lunch on my lunch break, and then go hours of treating and ending my day. And I go to the gym 2 or 3, and like today I'm going to do like hip hop and like to throw in things here and there to just try new things and patients, because like I have one patient I got introduced to the dance class that I'm going to is a dancer coming to see me. She injured herself, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like let me try out what she's trying to get back to. And then I'll have like golfers where I gone and done few holes outside. So that's what's a normal day, normal week looks like. To study here and there. I'll have my study schedule for my residency plan where I'm digging into research material for different cases, types of things I'll see.
I love that. And I remember when I was in outpatient therapy. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was at outpatient therapy. I would see people. I never had I always had the same therapist, and I had the same therapist for like over 5 years at one location. But I remember at this most recent location I was getting therapy at, I would see a different therapist. They had about maybe, I would say, 7 that worked there, full time. Then they have all these other therapists come in from other clinics or whatever. And I'm like, I was wondering, like, what are they doing? So, were they considered traveling therapists as well, or is that possible?
That sounds a little bit different. So there's travel therapy there for maybe somebody's maternity leave, or there is understaffing where they're, but so that's physical therapists that are doing like travel therapists that have like a float role. So that's more like somebody is because they're taking a vacation, so they only have to have a therapist like one day a week, and then they might do that clinics, and they're trying to do that to make sure they can still see the same volume. I always say to my patients, because sometimes that happen at our clinic, as our patients' schedule fluctuate, we might not always stick to the same patient, but I'll have a pair of eyes and another pair of hands for somebody, because we're all bringing different to the table. Worker might not have the same background and experience that I have to the patient. And one of my coworkers, she is certified and working on her certification on pelvic. So she has something that she can bring to the patient in that session and in that interaction, and they just are able to build better healthcare in that respect.
I like that. That makes sense, and I'm glad she that it's. I love that she has somebody that can help her in that way. So that's important to again being relatable. That type into all that being relatable. And so you're doing a lot of great things. You're rocking a lot of new adventures. And so Miss PT Babe Ariel, namely educating yourself, which I love. I'm here for education. I love educating myself. I love it, love it. I love learning. And so you're tapping to another side of the therapy field. Could you tell people what you're currently taking up in residency? You tap into it a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Yes. Okay. So for resident orthopedic specialist certification, so that just entails working on anything that's with the bones and the muscles instead of like brain additions. So a lot of my education for that residency program, people that had their hip replaced, people that had their knee replaced, or they have a shoulder strain, they had
And it's called orthopedic specialist certification. Is that correct? Okay. How long do you have left?
I have it's August, right? It's a year program, and I started
Okay.
in January.
Okay. Nothing much longer. Okay. So, would you still be practicing as a travel physical therapist, or do you leave that alone altogether? Are you going to Are you going to
I
stop it?
figure out with my career path what I'm going to do next as far as the timeline. I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
next year, but I'm looking at kind of settling down into one clinic and just community. But I can travel still with my ortho if I want to.
Okay. That's encouraging. That's encouraging too. So I remember being in therapy when I first started. It hurted so bad. Like I cried the first. I had cried. I didn't. My bones were used to being stretched, and so it's very painful. So how do you help people who are like new to getting therapy? How do you help them? How do you ease them into the process?
On educating my patients, I understand and resonate a lot with like you're already still on pain meds from the hospital, and you maybe not have even heard I'm coming in like, hey, I'm going to move your arm when
Mhm.
you're like bleeding. So I understand, and so I spend a lot of time just trying to connect with the patient, like I mentioned, and on what I'm going to be doing with them, and just letting them be able to be knowing that like I'm trying to understand. Like I can't imagine where you are in your life, but I understand it's probably a high likelihood that it's the worst in your life. And so I just give them a lot of education on how we can work together to accomplish.
Hey, you have any disgruntled patients? I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to stretch. I don't want to work out. I don't want to do nothing. Hey, you have any patients like that?
Absolutely, absolutely patient because, like I said, I go to them and they don't come to me. They didn't choose to come to me. But better in that respect that they got dressed, put on their clothes to me. So at that point, they're there. They want to be there to some degree. So
Yeah.
they're definitely in the hospital, definitely inpatient, and inpatient, and outpatient, and the hospital. But there's so many places and school systems with pediatrics, and
Oh,
so it just depends on what demographic you're working with for if
gotcha.
you end up getting a interaction like that.
Mm. I can imagine what that's like. Oh man. So switching gears, you're on social media. You're active on social media for the most part. You do videos to educate and entertain people, and so and not just for future physical therapists, but I'm entertained by it as well and educated by it as well. So it educates more than just people in your field. What inspired you to begin making videos?
So I started my because this is my my personal one, and I just when I was in my second year of school, I just realized like I had an outlet to like talk about this because I'm so passionate about it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was something that I enjoyed, and I'm grateful that I made that decision because
Mm-hmm.
internet in general it has its pitfalls, but it really has that we never would have been able to have otherwise, and that's what I found myself fan page in I think 28 where I started following other people in business
Mm-hmm.
or into physical therapy, and I've connected with them, these girls in real life. But I love like being able to bounce ideas off of them and seeing their posts. We'll be in the same city, and we're like, hey, let's hang out, let's take pictures.
Yeah.
So empowered, look like me that we're all having the same, and we're all just able to bolster each other and support each other. I'm just continue to just snowball that to reach people
Mm-hmm.
that they're like, hey, like I didn't know there were other Black physical therapists, just like when
Yeah.
you reached out to motivate me, where I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is doing something for somebody. So
Yes, yes, yeah, I love that. See, it's been a community. It's been a community, and I'm glad you have a community of other people who are like you. That's so it makes it easier too. Makes it easier to deal with. I love that. Um, Could you share one exercise people, whether with injuries or what you should do daily as exercise? What's one exercise we can do daily that everyone should do?
So
Whether it's
the
it doesn't matter.
yeah, the first thing I'll recommend is just like walking and just research recommends 150 minutes a week of exercise,
Okay.
30 minutes a few times a day. Then you're help with your heart health. A lot of times it helps with aches and pains. The favorite sense is your body is going to tell you what you need, and you just listen to it. Your body's going to tell you about your stomach growling. If you're thirsty, your mouth's going to get dry. Your body's telling
Yeah.
you probably need to move. And even with those patients that like work out, like their aerobics and things, and they still come to me in pain, I take it one step further and I move. But a lot of times we don't even move as much as we think we do, because but from a long day of like documenting and sitting down, like, oh, my back is a little bit tight. I went to the gym and I might have done the squats to look good and go to the bathing, but I didn't work out muscles in my back. They're like feeling tight and talk to me. So that's the main thing. Walking, exercises, running, anything that gets your heart rate up. And then from there, just working on we're not moving as much. For me, it's my back with sitting on the computer all day.
So I'm sitting in the wheelchair, but like I know for me, I do a lot of stretching, like stretching forward, stretching my arms, and like kicking my legs up. As much as I can do it myself, I do it. Um, but I think it's very important, like you said, stretch every day, daily, 30 minutes a day, at least 30 minutes a day. More, if you can do more, do more. And I think for me, also repetitions. Repetitions are very important as well. More, I mean, of course, you want to stretch and things like that, but repetitions are, especially if you had a brain injury, the neuroplasticity it remembers it, so it requires it to remember what to do. So I thank you for pointing that out. Two more questions. You gotta have a work. You have to have work life balance. So what do you do for fun? Travel, swim, like just the gym.
Yes. So as you already like to try out different things, as far as like today, I'm about dance class for like movement and dance. I did gymnastics. So working out is one in general, and just trying to practice what I preach as far as like just movement and exercise. You skateboarding is another thing that like I do a lot of all the things, but I can be okay at some of them. So skateboarding, board, trying to teach myself piano. Spanish is another big one. I've been trying to teach a focus and a passion of mine for that whole drive of diversity too for a while. Plus brunch in Atlanta. That's
good.
a passion.
I got to try bridge. I got to try it. I got to try it one day. I do. You're strong. I want to look at your video, and you did the lift the weights. How much was that though? How much weights were there? What was the
That
pounds?
is 135, I believe.
Wow.
In the
Wow.
video with weights, yeah.
You're a strong cookie. You're a
I
strong cookie.
I'm
You
wrong.
do. You do. You do. You're right. You're right. You do have to be strong.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So, another question. One more quick, actually, question. So, when you're standing someone up, aren't you supposed to bend with use your knees, or if you want to use is it
Yeah.
your back or your knees?
You want to use your legs. So I'm back a lot of have back pain because they're lifting just from their back. They're made for like
Mm-hmm.
standing up straight. They're not made for like picking up heavy loads. You want to use your butt, your thigh muscles,
Mm-hmm.
all of those other big lifts that's that heavy, because your big muscle is made for big lifting if you think about it.
I like it. That makes sense. Big muscle, big lifting. I remember that. So, last question: what does creating awareness for people of color who want to be physical therapists mean to you?
Sorry, repeat that last part.
What
first
does
part.
what does what does creating awareness with people of color? What does it mean? What does
So
it for physical therapists mean to you?
for me, it looks like just creating visibility, and there's already a lot of awareness as far
Mm-hmm.
as anybody already in physical therapy, people of color. So I try and create visibility through myself, just putting myself out there. And those people that are interested in physical therapy, they might not know this, but I'm sure they either haven't been introduced to physical therapy or they haven't seen anybody that does it. So I try and be that
Mm-hmm.
person out front to just like, this is what I do, like this is my passion, and this is something that you can do too.
I love that. I love that. Very well put. Very well put. Very well put. What's next for you as far as education? Are there any ventures that you got coming up?
I am, like I said, I'm still developing my career path. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just getting my orthopedic specialist certification, and down the road, own clinic, partnering with my company. I'm also enjoying getting into of just this social media and kind of developing it with developing. So I'm getting into marketing type things. That's kind of in and recruitment for those other physical therapists that are wanting to get patient or doing the role like mine, traveling, talking to them,
Mm-hmm.
and spending time is another big thing for student physical therapists that are already in the program. People that are aspiring to go to physical therapy school, I'll still try and take time and then trying to develop a kind of hub of business things for the kind of treat on the side, maybe dancers, whoever, and doing mentorship courses for people of color and just physical therapists that are starting out and trying to help with so somebody else can get that mentorship out the gate and not have to worry about it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Paving the way for somebody else. I love that. Lighten the path, like you said, lighten the path, paving the pavement. So I like that. It's very, and not a lot of people do that. A lot of people don't think about other people or don't want to reach back. So I'm glad you are um you're not you're very selfless. You're very selfless. So I appreciate that. I thank you for what you do. And again, what you do is important, and it's needed and necessary. It's needed, and none of people none of people do it. So I'm glad you are a willing vessel to you want to let people use your body. It takes your body. It takes your body to help others. So I'm glad you are willing to put your body out there to be used and to not be selfish. So I thank you for that. You inspire so many other people, and not just me, but other physical therapists who are up and coming who are want to see people like them. And they go, oh, I see that person like me. So thank you for paving the way for somebody else who has come behind you. And so I wish you the best on your residency journey and become an orthopedic specialist. Wish you the best with that. So, but let everyone know how they connect with you. How can they find you on social media? See your videos and information.
Yes, it's my handles. So the at sign, the TOP or whatever low um, T Bay, the PT.
Sorry,
That's my Instagram, my YouTube, and even if you Googled it, you'll find like some of my website and different things. My hands and other people's like platforms, kind of like how I've gotten connected with. That's going to be the best way. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I was like, oh, how's it going? Oh my goodness. That person of color, the therapist. So I was so excited. And I think I told you that. I saw when I sent you a message. I said, I'm so excited. I get so excited when I see people of color in all kind of areas. I really do. I love us. So thank you for sharing your journey, Ariel. I appreciate it. So you can connect with Ariel, Dr. Ariel Johnson, on Instagram at the THD PT Bay BAE. And if you're a student to be a physical therapist, follow her and learn more tips. It's very entertaining, very educating. So follow her. And thank you all for joining me today's episode. Hope you enjoyed me, Dr. Ariel Johnson, and about her physical therapy journey. Remember, you can connect me on Instagram at Erica R. Walker 878 and on YouTube, Erica Renee Walker. So tune in tomorrow for another episode of Season 3 TBI Uncovered. I'm sorry I didn't give a good intro today. I was a little thrown off, but they happen sometimes. They just roll with it. So I'm Erica Renee, and remember, we all have a story to tell, and you took a change for yours. So thank you all for watching this